He's for the game. He's for the Viking. He's a big Viking. He thinks he's awesome.
Hey everyone, this is me, the Untitled Viking. This is Colab, the newest machination from the genius minds of the John Middling and Jonathan Gilmore. This is a game for up to 4 players. There is a solo mode, which I won't be going into here, but I did play it. It's quite good. Each person is having a scientist working in a laboratory, and they have their minions that they're going to be using to go out and collect resources for them and activate different powers and abilities so they can build up a bunch of different concoctions of machines, potions, and monsters. This is a fabulous game with a lot of really cool components, and also like some fantastic art. Just dig it, and lots of little inside jokes that are really fun too. But anyway, let me show you how to play. We'll come back here. I'll give you my final thoughts. Alright everybody, so this is Colab. I've gone ahead and kind of just set up a 4-player game in media res, I believe is what they call this. Look at that, a little theater term for you there. But anyway, regardless, I'm just doing this to kind of just show you how a turn works in this particular game. This is a game where you're going to have dice that you're going to be using for resources. You have actually resources that you'll be using as resources. You have lots of different resources that you can use for different things. There's trigger tokens, there's potion tokens. There is going to be a card tableau that you are going to build from, like, you're going to collect cards as you play the game, and then you're going to build those up. The cards come in 3 different varieties: machines, potions, and monsters, and each of them work a different way. The game is a victory point game. Whoever has the most victory points at the end of the game is the winner. How does the game end, you may ask? The game ends when somebody has created and built 12 cards, and then you're going to figure out who wins the game. Each player has 3 these little minions that they're doing on their turn. What they'll do is they'll take one of their dice, they will power it up with a die that they've rolled prior, and they're going to place it onto the board. They're then going to take an action that will allow them to grab some resources off the board, and then they're going to remove one of the other 2 minions that they're on the board and take that back, and then they're going to remove the die from it, and they're going to place that die in this little tray here, and those are dice that have been used up. You have to get the dice removed from that and put into your pool, and then you roll them so you can recharge the dice and use them again. You only start with 4 white dice, which are kind of generic dice begin, but as the game progresses, you will collect more dice, purple, red, and blue, which match up with the purple, red, and blue cards. That, you know, obviously those are monster dice, machine dice, and potion dice. All right. That all being said, how does one take a turn? So I'm not going to power it up with I want to power it up with this die here. Might be tough to see, but you can see there's like a brain on there, and it says a 2. So this is a 2 brain die, and I want to place that 2 brain die out there because I've got a plan. I want to be able to, I have monsters that I want to build in my cards that I have here. I want to build a monster because in the previous turn I built this monster card. You can see purple. It says a little thinker, and the little thinker says this is +2 victory points for every adjacent either machine or I can't even talk. +2 for every potion or machine and a card, and +3 for every 2 adjacent monster cards. Well, I've already got 1 monster card that's adjacent to this, so I'm thinking if I can get another monster card either here or here next to that card, I'm going to be able to cash in with some extra victory points. So I want to do that. So, and I have a couple of monsters in here. I'm going to just show you a quick card. I have a couple of monsters in my hand where I have both a Linacre, which is a monster, and I have this Iron Marv, which is a monster. And you can see those are both worth 2 victory points if I create them for the end of the game. And then over on the left-hand side, you can see the different things we need to create. The Iron Marv, you need 3 lightning bolts, 2 brains, or 1 wrench, and 1 potion. And then, you know, there's slightly less over here for Linacre. And each one of these has to do plus 5 if adjacent to at least one of each card type. So my plan is, I want to make the Linacre because I have a potion right here. I have that monster right there. If I manage to put this here, all I got to do is make a machine into this location over there, and then he's going to be worth extra points at the end of the game. So that's my goal. That's what I want to do. I want to figure out a way to get 2 lightning bolts, 2 brains, 1 gear, and 1 I believe it is like it's a leaf on there. So that's my goal on this turn. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that. So first I'm going to place one of my minions. So here is my minion that has the 2 brains. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and I'm going to place it onto that spot right there. Now when I place that, I get 2 choices. I can either take the top bonus, which is just this purple resource, which replicates any purple resources that I want, or I can take the secondary spot for the part that was put there, where I'm able to remove a die from my tray and place it and re-roll it, and then take a purple card. Now, I don't really want a purple card, and I don't really care about the dice right now, so I'm going to take that generic resource, and I'm going to place that generic resource on my card, on my little tableau for my character here. There are 4 circles on there, meaning that you can have 4 resources that you can use, and like on your board. And if you have any more of that, you're going to have to discard that after your turn is done. So maybe I'll hopefully use up some of these resources, and you're probably going to before the turn's over, and then I'll have spot for that purple one that I just took. Now I get to remove one of these 2 that are out there as well. And over here, when you remove that, you get to do the exact same thing you've just done. And so I'm going to remove this guy here, and I'm going to take back this white die, and I get to either draw a card, or I get to either remove 1 die and get a potion. Now, like this little potion disc that's over here. Now, these discs, what they do is that if you have a potion in your tableau, they give you powers, and then you can use those. And so this one says, if I use the potion number 9, this turn I may independently collect and build on a lab that you visit. Now, I'm getting a little ahead of myself because I haven't visited a lab yet on my turn. But if I wanted to, I could do that power if I wanted to. So I actually want to do the power here, which allows me to draw any 1 card of any color. I want to do that because, remember, I want to get a machine that I'm going to be able to build on the other side. So I'm going to take a machine card and see what I get. I should mention there is a hand limit of 6, so if you have more than 6 cards in your turn, you have to discard something. So I got this cane finger belt, and then it has a little trigger on it. This ability acts the same as one of your other triggered abilities in your grid, so that's kind of cool. It's a little like special thing, but I'm more interested in the fact that it looks like it's got really low requirements to build. And if I can get it next to the Linacre that I want to build this turn, I'll be able to get some extra victory points in the game. This is one of those cool things where also, obviously, you're building kind of an engine over here as the game progresses, and it's going to get better and better as you go along. All right, so that I've placed and I've removed, and now I'm going to place my scientist in a lab. So I'm going to go to this purple lab right here, and when you do that, you get to either collect or build cards. Now, I'm going to show you the collect action, even though I'm not really doing it, just so you can kind of see what the collect action is, and so you can see how that works. When you do a collect action, you count the number of minions that are attached to this lab. Right now, these 2 and these 2 are here. Now, technically, they're attached to these 2 labs here, so if somebody goes to those spots, they'll be able to use those minions as well. But right now, there's 4 minions that I can use to power up, and I can do a collection. Now, a collection powers up these little tiles here. Some of those are starter tiles that get placed at the beginning of the game. Others are as people are building up, and I'll show you how the build up works when I do the build function instead of the collect here with this particular scientist. So when you do your when you do a collect, what you're going to do is each one of these tiles has like a number of workers it takes to activate them. In this case, it takes 2 workers to activate this one. These 2 cost 1 worker each. as luck would have it, I have 4 workers here. These both cost 1 to do. This one is 2. So this one for 2 workers means I can take any 1 die and add it to my situation, which I'm going to take a red die and I'm going to roll it, and I'm going to put that there. This one says I get a purple die. I'm going to roll that and I place that one there. And then the final one here is take any 1 resource. Now I'm kind of I want to take, I want to build a machine, so I'm going to take a red. I'm probably going to have to make a big decision because I don't think I'm going to be able to use up enough resources. I'm going to have to discard something in the end of this turn. But that's what a collect would be. Now, actually, technically, I'm not doing the collects, so let me remove this stuff. I didn't, I mean, that would be what I do, and the collect would be done at that point. I should mention that if you can't do a collect or a build action with your thing, you can go to the center. It's kind of like the default where you can gain some resources by going there as well. And then usually you only do that if you don't have the right dice or you can't get the right resources to do what you want. All right, so we're going to do a build. So when you do a build, there is this construct, and which allows me to add something to this lab over here, which if you have to do that. And so when you do that, it doesn't cost anything. You take the top. So first you're going to look and you see that there's a level 1 lab in all 3 of these spaces. So if there wasn't, say, this one there, I would have to put a level 1 lab down. But since all the level 1 spaces are taken, I had to take a level 2 lab. I take the top one off the top, and I just add it to the board here. This one is, with 2 workers, you can get 2 victory points if you activate that spot. So now, and I'm just going to build this out so you can kind of see. So if the next time somebody builds there, oh wow, another 2 victory points. So it's a pretty good place. And then the last time somebody builds there, you're going to add like this final like little chunk there to build out that entire corner. And that then you don't have to, this can't be built anymore. So that's how these will grow as the game progresses and give more and more powers to people as they use them. All right, so if I've done that build, and I might as well just, since I'm going to take these 2 off because I didn't technically do those. And now I'm going to do a build of my cards. And so what it says here is I'm allowed to build 1 card. I'm allowed to build 1 purple card. And as I said, I had that purple card, the Linacre, that I want to build. So this is because I'm planning to be able to get extra points here at the end of the game. So I need 2 lightning bolts, 2 brains, 1 like blue leaf, and 1 gear. So these are like, the only one that I actually have, the dice all match up perfectly, and I kind of did that on purpose. So this one this red die has 2 red gears on it, and so that's my 1 gear. This one has a leaf on there, that's my 1 leaf. This one has 2 brains, and this one has 2 lightning bolts. So now I can take this particular card and I'd be able to place it into my tableau like so, and I've satisfied that little thinker's requirement of having the 2 next to it, so I get the 3 victory points. I've set that up. Now, if I didn't have those, and some of the spaces, like this one has a build of 1, like this one you can see you get to build, you could possibly build 2, and build 2, and build 2. Like, you can build more. So if I was in a spot that I was like able to build 2, like I could build that one, and then I could build another purple one if I wanted to. So you can end up building more than 1 card if you have the right. It should be noted that like if you built and you only use the 1 gear in this one, you don't save that last gear. The die is expended. You don't actually use up the dice either. Those resources, they can only be used once on your turn, but they're ready and available for the next person that goes. The only time those resources go away is when you take the minion back off the table and then get it set up for the next turn. And you obviously, if say like this one wasn't there, the 2 lightning bolts weren't there, I could have spent these 2 purple to manifest that. If like the gears or the leaf weren't there, I could have spent my blue or one of these red resources to replicate those as well, and I'd be able to build that card. After that, your turn is done, and it's up to the next player to do the exact same thing again. And the game will progress, as I said, until one person collects all 12 cards in their tableau, and then you're going to figure out who has won the game. I mean, the theme of the game is super cool in this one. I mean, technically, I guess it could have been everything, but I do love the whole idea with the minions and the mad scientists and what have you. I love dice, and I love rolling dice for different things. I love lots of different resources. I love the fact that the game is being built as the game progresses, and the fact that as you build up certain places, you mean, like, notice when you build this spot onto that part of the lab, like, you don't get to use it that turn. You're building it up for somebody else to come in next turn, come over here and use that spot and be able to use that really cool area. Notice how all these minions are still here. Orange comes over here and goes, you know what? I'm gonna do a build, and I'm gonna add another thing, or I'm gonna do a collect. I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna use like 2 of these guys to get some victory points or what have you. So as the game progresses, like, you're building stuff up with the people after you get to pile on, and that's why this is like the collab. It's like you're collaborating with these other scientists. This isn't a game of take that or beat each other up. You're all working together, and, you know, admittedly, only one of you can win, but you're all working together to kind of build up this laboratory that you're in, and all of you are kind of racing to do the best possible job at creating your monsters, your machines, and your potions. But anyway, that was all. There was a whole lot there going on. I hope you understood the game and how it's played. I'm going to give you my final thoughts right now. Alright, so there you go. Collab. Just cards on the table here. First of all, the components, those giant professor things, which are super cool looking. I love them. I love the I mean, sometimes less is more, and sometimes more is more, right? And it's just and this is definitely a situation where more is more. But those are 3D printed models, and I'm sure that the final game will not be 3D printed. So just take that for what it is as far as the components. But I mean, and also, I mean, like, it could change the way it looks between now and when the game is published. Second thing is, the Johns, Mr. Gilmore and Mr. Metling, both friends of mine. And they asked me if I'd be willing to do this video, and I said sure. And so if you want to factor that into your mindset at all, that's fine. But, you know, regardless, I have really enjoyed everything that Portal Dragon Games has come out with, and I've yet to find a Jonathan Gilmore game that I haven't enjoyed playing. So, yeah. Regardless. Anyway, so let's dive into Collab. I already touched on a few things here that I've really liked. And I don't want to get off on a rant here or anything like that. I don't want to like start talking about replayability as far as a metric to discern whether a game is good or not. So I will talk about that in a little bit, but let's just actually talk about what's really good about this game. Due to the fact, the puzzle board nature of it, because of the fact that you're putting all those pieces together, all the different towers, you're putting together all of the different little, I forget what the exact, but basically like the little piece in the tower that determines what resources you can gather, where the labs go, where these particular bonus like builds of each lab as it gets created. Because of all those different things, each game will present itself with a new puzzle for the different players to comprehend and try to best and try to do better, if you will. There's something to be said about that. There's lots of games out there that I've played that don't have that variability, that after you've played it a couple times, you've kind of, other than the exploratory nature of the game is over, and other than just trying to see if you can somehow do better the next time, there isn't much more to it. So I not that those games are bad technically, but I get more mileage out of a game like this. I get more fun out of a game like this because it does present a new, for lack of a better word, a new story problem that I need to determine for that particular game set. I really enjoy all the different types of resources and the interchangeability of the resources. The fact that if you roll bad dice, that doesn't necessarily mean that you can't do what you want to do. You just have to find a different way that maybe is going to cost you more of the resources that you have than you really want to. I love the fact that not only you're building like a tableau of these cards, but each of those cards has kind of a funky little thing going on. The monsters are, you know, a lot of like score some points at the end of the game type of situations. Potions have those, you expend those tokens, get those potion tokens and expend them to use those powers. The mechanical ones, the machines, I didn't really, I showed you some of those, but I didn't put any in my tableau during my show how the game works. A lot of those will get a trigger, and they'll have these like little trigger tokens that you'll place on them. And then on your turn, you're allowed to flip that trigger token to, like, literally you're flipping the switch on the machine, which is a fabulous little, I guess, immersiveness of the game, if you will. And then, of course, they reset before your next turn. So, and so when you, as the game progresses, your turns will become more complicated and more, they'll have more meat to them, right? You know, and I like games like that where I can feel myself building something. I can feel myself creating something as the game progresses. And then win or lose in the game, you can kind of look at what you've done. Scott Nicholson has always said, like, you know, it's nice at the end of the game to just kind of look at, you can see the progression of what you've created and what you've made, and there's something to that, right? I mean, I think by nature, we as humans are creative, and we want to be creative. And if you have a game that allows us to create something, admittedly within the confines of the game, it gives you a good feeling, like, you know, and I think that's like what I really liked about this game. The entire time I played it, I just had good feelings. I was like, oh, this is cool. I feel smart right now. I can push this thing here, and I can push this button, and I can do this. Or, oh, cool, I got the exact right resources I need to be able to put this particular card in there. And oh my gosh, look at that spot over there. It's got all those minions around, and look at all that stuff I can get on my turn. This is going to be awesome. And so you do that, you have this awesome turn, and you have these, like I said, those signature moments that make you feel good. I love the weight of the game. My two most common people that I end up playing games with right now are my kids, Rylan and Caleb. And Caleb is going to be turning 10 here in October, and he's, as I talked in some other videos I've done, he's turned that corner, right? I mean, before, like, we used to play a lot of games that were just one and done type of situations where I'm going to go here and do this, and that's it. But now he's turned that corner to the thing where it's like, I'm going to go do this to prep myself to be able to do this, this, and this on my next turn. And this game was amazing for him. He loved it. It just hit on a lot of different things. He loved the monsters. He loved creating them. There's even a he's a Pokemon freak. There's a trap machine that actually kind of looks like a Pokemon ball. One of the little inside jokes they have. Oh yeah, they don't get sued for that. But anyway, it's stuff like that gets added to the game that he really dug, and he was able to see those things, and then he was able to figure out also that, like, making all this cool stuff is one thing, but you got to actually be able to make points as well, and increase your points and be able to actually win the game, which I could see, like, a lot of people, like, you could get caught up in the whole process of the game and, like, not ever really do the right things to actually, you know, win said game. Some engine building games end up being like that. This one doesn't. It doesn't make it tough to get to the victory point building aspect, which I appreciated a great deal as well. I mean, all in all, I mean, like I said, this is a game that I'm going to want to have in my collection and keep in my collection because of the fact that it has that variable setup, it has a really cool theme, really awesome art, and the fact that it's just that perfect weight where I'm going to enjoy the game, playing it. It's not going to, like, burn my brain to figure it out. It's going to make me feel smart when I play it. And the people that I'm most likely going to be playing games with, this is a game that they're going to be able to grok and understand, and it's going to challenge them as well. And we're all going to have fun while we play it. Now, I mentioned the whole, and that's it. I mean, if you're wondering whether you should back the game or go get it, I would strongly suggest that if you like kind of puzzly games that aren't too puzzly, this is a no-brainer. Go get it. Fantastic art, fantastic pieces, just a super cool world that you're inhabiting. You're going to have a lot of fun with it. Now, I know, I'm not going to do too much of a rant here, but I just wanted to say one thing. I do feel that, like, a lot of people will, and this is not to say that they're wrong or anything like that, but I know a lot of people will say things like, oh, you know, it's like the replayability of this game is through the roof. You know, that's like this metric that we put out there that we say, like, oh, if the replayability is good. You know, I used to have thousands of games. Now I'm down to hundreds of games. Thank heavens I was able to get rid of most of them. But most of these games have been played twice, 3 times, maybe. Now, if you had a collection of 10 games and you had people over every weekend and those are the only 10 games you own, yeah, replayability is going to matter. But here's the deal. Most of us don't play our games as much as we wish we could, right? I mean, it's not that we don't like the games. It's just the fact that finding the time to play it, finding people to play it with, stuff like that. So, I do think that replayability is important, but it isn't as important as we're thinking. And until we get to the point where we actually only have maybe 10, 15, 20 games in our collection, which isn't going to happen anytime soon. We love our games, we love buying them, we love owning them, we love seeing them, even if they're not being played. We adore the fact that we have them, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. But until that actually is the case, I really don't think replayability matters. Now, this game's replayability is, you know, through the roof. I mean, it's a pretty simple rule set, you know, and that is layered on top of a multi-dimensional, you know, process that is going to be different every single time that you play. But that shouldn't be the reason. The only like unless, I mean, I don't know, maybe this is the one game you're going to own and you're going to be playing it over and over and over again, in which case you'll be happy you did, because you could play this game over and over again and you could really like it. Anyway, so bottom line, 1, Colab is awesome. You should go back it. 2, if you disagree with me about replayability, give me a comment. Let me know what you think. Anyway, there you go. Colab, it's awesome. Get it. I know I am. I'll talk to you later. Bye.